In an exceptionally serene region in the Danvers district in Ukraine, Mykola lives with his pregnant spouse Nastia. The two of them are known as the primary eco-pilgrims nearby. Nastia is a craftsman who preferences drawing and wood carving. She even makes a wood holy messenger for Mykola so he can have an insurance special necklace. Mykola is a mathematician, physicist, and biologist that educates at the nearby school, which he goes to on his bike. The gesture of goodwill outside their house is the paw of the white raven, addressing an old legend of a raven that had sympathy for individuals and brought them new water and food, losing its quills simultaneously. Due to the absence of gadgets at home, 2 or 3 gets no news until Mykola goes to work and gets a couple of moments of television throughout his break. That is the manner by which he finds out about the dissidents that were killed in Ukraine's capital city and Russia perhaps attacking the country. During class, Mykola is hassled by understudy Ivan, who thinks his educator is a more unusual and a creep so he needs to get rid of him, yet Mykola never allows him to outrage him since he puts stock in pacifism and dealing with directing the young's brain. One morning en route to work, Mykola sees a few fighters remaining by the street however pays them no psyche. At the point when he at long last shows up at school, he is stunned to think that it is vacant, and the television rapidly explains to him why Russia has attacked Ukraine. Recalling the troopers he saw before, Mykola stresses over his significant other and surges back to his home. However, it is as of now past the point of no return. The Russians are there pounding Nastia and they get Mykola too when he attempts to protect her. After the officers ensure they are not spies, they light a fire inside the house and leave. However, when Nastia attempts to fight back by tossing a stone at them, the warriors make sure to her before at last disappearing. Crushed, Mykola sticks to his significant other's body while watching his home burn to the ground. Hours after the fact, 2 individuals from the Ukrainian civilian army track down Mykola, and subsequent to really looking at his character to ensure he is a blameless regular citizen, they assist him with digging a grave for Nastia. Then, at that point, they remove him with them to their base, despite the fact that prior to leaving Mykola makes a point to take the wood holy messenger with him as the last memory of his significant other. The higher-ups at the base are disturbed about the unexpected appearance of an outsider since he could be a government operative, yet Mykola rapidly shows what him can do by saying he needs to enlist in the military and drive the Russians out of their country. From that point on, Mykola is shipped off a weighty instructional class where he should figure out how to debilitate his body and use guns, 2 things that as a conservative he has never finished. Dismantling and collecting weapons is especially hard for himself and it procures him the joke of his bosses, particularly when he reports he has picked Raven as a codename. Mykola doesn't allow them to put him down and trains extra hard, keeping awake until late with weapon practice and keeping the wood holy messenger close so he always remembers his goal, pursuing retribution for his better half. Half a month after the fact, the students realize there are insufficient riflemen at the front and the military is searching for volunteers for the gig. Relatively few individuals are intrigued, yet Mykola quickly chips in, just to be met with more joke. Still not able to surrender, Mykola takes a test to show what him can do. He dismantles and reassembles an AK-47 while blindfolded in less than 20 seconds, at last gaining everybody's appreciation. They additionally begin calling him Raven as he needed. The hypothetical piece of sharpshooter preparing comes effectively to Mykola because of his insight into math and physical science, having the option to do estimations quicker than the educators themselves. He is likewise magnificent at adhering to the main guideline, which is keeping totally still and tranquil, in any event, when a teacher takes shots at the ground close to him. Tragically, he doesn't do well with regards to the genuine shooting in light of the fact that for reasons unknown, they have given him an alternate weapon from every other person, the sort of gun that isn't able for war killing. Whenever Mykola calls attention to this, he is told to manage it. By and by, Mykola will not surrender and makes an arrangement to demonstrate what he can do. The last sharpshooter test is during the evening, and the students should shoot when a flare shot by the teacher gives them enough light around their subjects. Be that as it may, Mykola doesn't as yet shoot, he utilizes the light to work out the distance and when the test is finished, then he shoots under complete obscurity and raises a ruckus around town precisely in the middle, something no other person may do. This permits Mykola to graduate with the most noteworthy score and turns out to be doled out to a top-of-the-line unit. For his most memorable mission, Mykola and his kindred marksmen should free a significant designated spot that has been caught by the Russians. The group effectively slips into the area without being distinguished, and every sharpshooter gets relegated an objective. However, when they are going to shoot, they should stop the arrangement on the grounds that a regular citizen vehicle moves toward the designated spot. The Russian fighters make the two regular people emerge and turn in their travel papers, declining to give them back when they request that the couple leave. The man sets a scene as he expectations to be given his things back, making the Russian officers answer with viciousness. Mykola's group sees this and promptly assaults, killing each warrior with speedy, productive shots, including the person that attempts to keep the regular citizen lady prisoner. When the mission is finished, the group balances the Ukrainian banner to retake control of the designated spot. At the point when they return to base, Mykola hears his kindred beginners have left on an alternate mission, so he utilizes this snapshot of margin time to visit the school he used to work at, ending up profoundly moved by the barren sight of the dusty homerooms. The following day, when the other group returns, Mykola is hit by the hardest of information. One of his companions has kicked the bucket on account of a faux expert sharpshooter. This adds to the rundown of motivations behind why Mykola needs to seek retribution. For the following mission, Mykola's group conceals a lot of explosives on trees behind leaves before they conceal in the grass while trusting that their foe will appear. At the point when the Russian warriors show up in the woodland as reports had expected, Mykola wonders whether or not to shoot since he sees something he can't accept. Ivan has enlisted in the Russian armed force and is coming this way with their other foes. He wakes up when the skipper orders him to shoot, and Mykola raises a ruckus around town, killing each Russian trooper including Ivan. At the point when the chief gets some information about and hears Mykola's clarification, he answers Ivan had settled on his decision. Later throughout a break, Mykola and the skipper bond over their recollections of home. The chief conveys with him an image of his family and makes sense of he has a concurrence with his significant other not to tell his girls the idea of his work, so they think he is away on an excursion for work. Consequently, Mykola shows him the wood holy messenger, making sense of it represents his own loved ones. A couple of days after the fact, the Ukrainian powers figure out how to get the channels by the line, so the expert sharpshooter group gets ready to sit tight for the Russian powers that are preparing to attack this district. Keeping the holy messenger with him consistently, Mykola prepares to go about his business, yet he loses his standard serenity when he sees that among the showing up Russian warriors, he can see the man that killed his significant other. Frantic for retribution, Mykola continues to request consent to shoot, and the chief turns him down each time in light of the fact that the foe isn't in the right position yet. In the long run, Mykola becomes weary of delaying and shoots at any rate, stirring things up around town, yet in addition offering their area to a secret faux marksman that quickly fights back and kills the skipper. As the Russians open discharge on them, Mykola needs to drag the commander's body through the field while avoiding each disaster and each bomb. Hours after the fact, when Mykola at long last returns to the base, his predominant commitments, there will be an examination to figure out the rifleman that killed the commander, and when they at last find him, they will call Mykola to deal with him. In the interim, Mykola is overpowered with responsibility and chooses to hurl himself entirely into solo missions to compensate for his error. His sharpshooter abilities are still spot on and he figures out how to bring down numerous Russian fighters, yet without anybody keeping him honest, he likewise gets excessively unsafe and winds up with an injured arm brought about by a faux projectile. Mykola goes to a mysterious hideaway to find opportunity to recuperate and watch the news to get a report on the political status of the dealings with Russia. However, his break is intruded on by a significant call. It turns out the military has tracked down the area of the sharpshooter that killed the skipper, so Mykola needs to return. Before the mission starts, the warriors are let all the data know that has been assembled up until this point. The marksman's shots are far-reaching. He has previously killed 5 Ukrainian expert riflemen and 3 heavy weapons specialists, and he goes by sorry. To exacerbate the situation, he records every one of his kills and presents the recordings on Dampen Them. He even had the nerve to post the recording of their skipper's demise. In some measure, this large number of setbacks have permitted them to pinpoint Sari's area, and since they can't fill the spot with mines in light of a chlorine stockpiling in the synthetic plant where the foe is stowing away, they have concocted a substitute arrangement. Their marksmen will take out the lower fighters to make room for Mykola to sneak inside and get Sari eye to eye. At the point when the mission starts, every one of the Ukrainian expert riflemen get ready and trust that Mykola will help inside the structure by slithering through the field. The primary fighter he finds is the other man that had gone after his home nevertheless recollects Mykola, saying he ought to have killed him the initial time. In the wake of killing him with one speedy and fulfilling shot, Mykola gives his partners the all right to assault, provoking every one of the Ukrainian marksmen to discharge simultaneously and dealing with the scope of the area without raising any cautions. There are just 2 Russian riflemen left, including Sari. They don't see there is an off-base thing until they quit getting messages over the comms and go to mind their kindred troopers, thinking that they are dead. While Mykola utilizes the opportunity to get further into the structure inconspicuous, Sari calls for reinforcement and sends the other fighter to keep watch before he gets back to his spot, where he is shocked to see a little wood-holy messenger. At that point Mykola emerges, bouncing on Sari to kill him with a blade while the other Russian warrior succumbs to a projectile that is sitting tight for him. Then the reinforcement that Sari called for shows up at the area, so Mykola utilizes Sari's radio to let the new officers know that they will pay for what they did. When the Russian truck leaves, the Ukrainian troopers open fire on it, dispensing with every one of the objectives in short order. Since Mykola has retaliated for his significant other, his companion, and his chief, he chooses to bring a crush and go spirit home to visit Nastia's grave, trying to fix the cross that had fallen. Tragically, however much he misses his home, he can't remain in light of the fact that there is significantly more work to accomplish for his country. Before long he is on one more independent mission, prepared to bring down however many Russian warriors as needs be.